So hello again, this is Ben Hitchcock Cross talking. Two things here, an admonishment if you don't mind, and a brief, Spider-Man origin story here. So number one, I just need to say that I really hate comments about people's appearances. I don't mind any comments about mine in particular. I think it's kind of funny. As my mother always says, that's what you look like, and that's what I look like. But boy, it just aggravates the heck out of me. I had a really good friend from law school who was on Law and Crime TV on a fairly big murder case. And all I saw were comments, the vast majority of what I saw were comments about her appearance. And it just frustrated the heck out of me because certainly she's a lot more than her appearance, and that's not why she was there. She was there to defend somebody on trial for murder. So that's a lot more serious about than your general face condition, in my opinion. Likewise, the opposing counsel, other people like that, I think that they could be held up to ridicule for so many things, up to including their behavior and who their clients are. Although that's not my favorite either. But hey, welcome. That's everybody's fair game. Certainly I am too. But this is what we're showing here is people in their professional situations, not at beauty college. So that's it. Finally, I think it'd be more helpful to everybody, and certainly whatever argument you have to make, that if you can say the same things in terms of their behavior as opposed to their appearance, that will go a long way to strengthening whatever you have to say about them. So, second of all, I want to explain to you how I got to have the niche that I have, and why I do what I do. So, I work for an employment law firm. I think that was always going to be a given. It's my family. This is my family firm, so that's what we do. The thing is that everybody has to do something individual. Everybody's got to do something unique, because even in employment law, it's so complicated that lawyers are just so specialized that even to say employment law isn't enough. You got to go down. I do benefits. I do governmental employees. I do discrimination. I do sexual harassment. Those kind of things. So one of the reasons that I do governmental employees and I focused in on that area, including the intersection of civil rights and the Constitution, is because of a stream that my parents own in Wisconsin. That stream happened to be in the watershed of an expansion project to a highway. We are talking some very, very minor stuff. And I can tell you that one of the attorneys from our office that worked on this case, when they saw the picture of just how small this stream is, they really couldn't believe that they had put that much paper into protecting it. But, I guess I feel differently. Needless to say, this was a pet project of mine. While I was in law school, I spent a great deal of time trying to rack my brain around this problem. And here's what happened. I used the public records law, is what we call it here in Wisconsin, to get documents on this case. And I got an email from the highway commissioner, the person in charge by state law of the highways in this county, to the village, and the two of them, the county and the village here, were working together to put this road in place. You don't want to say cahoots at this point, because building a road is what they do. So, but they're working together because it's shared finances and all things like that. So the village held a lien, an easement on this property over to drain to this stream. The county did not. The person who preceded us in interest was not in his right wits, certainly at the end. I think that's fairly fair to say. And that there's an email basically from the county highway commissioner to the village saying that this easement is vague and this guy doesn't know what he's doing and basically we can do whatever we want. And when I got that, I'm sure you're thinking, hey, just like the escrow video, just like whatever, I'm off to the races, bam. Okay, and kind of that's what I thought. But boy, it took 2 years. Sure did. And first of all, I had to figure out what kind of claim that it was, how to use this email to protect that stream. And, I was in law school at the time, so I was, I had a lot of resources available to me, but I would go down one rabbit hole after another, after another, after another, until I finally came on this claim called Class of 1 Intentional Denial of Due Process. And that claims, the famous one from that, is a lady, I think makes the mayor upset. I don't remember what the deal is with the local city. But she needs water hookup to her house. Everybody else they charge $10, and for her they charge $100,000, something along those lines. I'm sure I'm exaggerating here. So she sues them, and it wasn't a claim at the time, but she made it a claim, and the government can't go after you just because they don't like you. And the two incredible benefits about that, I guess the number one is there's no remedies to exhaust. Okay, and I'll explain what that means in greater detail, but basically that means you can go straight to federal court. You don't need to go through the local system, whatever that means, the county, the village, whatever that means, in order to have them officially say no. Sometimes the whole state. The big problem with that can be that by the time you've gone through that whole process, you're exhausted, and I mean, literally, you've exhausted your remedies, you're also exhausted. And then on top of that, the other problem is that you've put all this evidence, both sides, on the record in these really sort of unfair conditions that's not federal court, which are more fair to both sides at least. In terms of evidentiary rules and all the rest, I would say, without question, a federal court is going to be more fair than a village zoning commission. I mean, is anybody out there going to dispute me on that? Please do. So, that being the case, you don't want another thing I didn't want to do was go to that county judge and say, county judge, you need to make the county highway commissioner not do X, Y, and Z. Because then, even if you can take it to federal court after that or whatever, you still got this decision out there that any judge is going to think twice about, saying, hey, I'm not, why am I going to think any differently than this guy? Let's just get rid of it. Okay? So whether that's the right thing to do or not, you don't want to be having them ask that question. You don't want to be fighting that battle. Well, the key difference between administrative exhaustion of remedies and going straight to federal court is malice. And what does that mean? That means they did it because they don't like you. And now that could be all sorts of different reasons, but it's you specifically. And that they're going after you for no readily apparent reason. Okay? So it's not enough just that you and the mayor got into a fight and then a month later he didn't give you his, a liquor license. You're really going to need some kind of smoking gun there that the mayor says, hey, you license commissioner or whatever, however they do it there, don't give this guy a license because I don't like him. You're going to need you're going to need something to back that assertion of why, because it's malice. So that's, that I think is the big thing to keep in mind there. So, leaving aside all the legal mumbo-jumbo, what happened? I started, when you get a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I started my career really thinking about this claim of intentional deprivation of due process. Now, They did they were pretty clever about this. You can't use intentional denial of due process while somebody's employed. So that really comes up in my realm is after they're employed, they start going after them. Okay, so that's how that comes up with me, and I started seeing that everywhere because it is everywhere. You just until you know about the claim, you don't really know how to deal with it, and because of that, it led me to other constitutional claims in terms of employment or sort of unique constitutional claims, and that's what then led to doing employment law and how it intersects with civil rights. So that's my little area right there. The Constitution for individuals, and then individuals working for the government, and sort of how those rights clash. Which in the escrow thing, it would be individuals working for the government in terms of the police department, exercising their free speech. Outside of that, and how do those rights clash? Is it an employment matter? Is it a civil rights matter? Is it a quasi-criminal because of what they were doing there? I mean, it's the Fifth Amendment any way you look at it, but you see what I'm saying, that all of those laws come into play in terms of what I'm doing, which is ultimately first protecting people's careers. Okay? So that's my lens. That's how I'm looking at things. And we certainly look upon favor with the bad actors, mayors and police chiefs and things like that resigning. But ultimately, for me, the key thing is how do we protect that person's employment? How do we restore their rights? How do we restore their dignity? How do we give them a day in court? Those are the lenses that I'm focused at when I'm trying to address a problem for somebody, because I'm getting paid to address problems for people. Okay? So that is my take on how protecting a stream, using the Constitution to protect a stream, when I got a good email from a highway commissioner, sort of led to looking at other things and having one lens lead to another, and here we all are. Okay? So stick with us. We'll keep you informed. Thank you very much.